to first start off by asking less than what?
I still don't have an answer for anyone.
No, yeah, no, I just saw that on your Snapchat bio, and I had to ask it. Yeah, so I mean, for the audience that doesn't know who you are, tell them a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And why you do it?
That was a good one. I enjoyed that. So my name is DJFord. I'm an influencer on TikTok, and I host a couple Snapchat shows, and I also do influencer marketing and social media marketing for companies.
How long you been doing it for?
So probably 5-6 years now since I started on Instagram, and then before that, I was obviously like, I had my own social media, but I wasn't doing it for work. I started a meme page back then, and then a couple years later, TikTok became a big thing. And one of my friends that was a influencer on Instagram was telling me about how I got to get into TikTok and how I didn't miss the wave. And this was 2019, so people had thought that everyone missed the wave so far, but that's how I got into it.
Well, TikTok was originally Musically, which I feel like a lot of people tend to forget. So, what, like, did you do anything on Musically, or did you have any like prior opinions on it from it being originally Musically?
That's a good point. I never used Musically. I obviously like I would see stuff through Instagram because people would repost, but I was never on Musically. I think I made one or two Musicallys back in the day, and then I deleted the app. But this, the cringy like third grade Musically, probably fifth, sixth grade. But no, I didn't have too much experience on that until they changed to TikTok, and then a little bit after I was on there.
So there's a video out there somewhere of 8-year-old DJFord. Theoretically speaking.
Theoretically speaking, somebody could definitely track that down. Yes.
All right, I'll make sure to put a bounty on that for at least good $100, so I can make that the intro for the video. So why exactly did you start making videos?
I had done social media on Instagram for a little bit, and I did a meme page, and then I kind of grew up a little bit, hit a little bit of puberty, not really too much yet, but and then I was like, I want to try to put my face out there. I want to try to do that side of it. So when my friend was like, "Yo, TikTok is this big thing right now," that was really intriguing. So I wanted to get into that.
Have you ever met like any like bigger influencers that like you either gain inspiration from, you did stuff with, like?
Yeah, I mean for sure. When I was younger, I actually have a question for you. I have a follow up to this because I wonder this. When I was younger, the influencers that were big at the time were like Rice Gum, FouseyTube, that era of YouTuber. So obviously people like that I would watch and want, and strive for. Rice Gum was, disappeared, and FouseyTube at the time was disappeared. So I never got to speak to them. But then even influencers like Colin Ray, like he's an influencer who went to prison for 7 years, got out and started TikTok and just talking about what happened in his life story. And now he's on nonprofits and this and that. So like people like that, I definitely drive like inspiration from just seeing the stories that everyday people are able to put out. It's awesome.
What was the follow-up question for me?
Who were the YouTubers you watched growing up? You're a
For
couple
me?
years younger than me, yeah. So
Well, I mean, I'm
I'm
not that
curious.
much younger than you. I also I was around the age of like iDubbbz, Rice Gum, like the start of
Okay.
Jake Paul, Dan TDM, like,
Okay.
well, if we're going like really back, like when I was younger, that would probably be like Dan TDM, people like them, like popular MMOs, like the Minecraft YouTubers, Sky,
This guy
Sky
does
does
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Yep.
Yeah, I never really watched him. My cousin did, but just people like that, like a lot of Minecraft YouTubers. Then as I grew up, it was like more iDubbbz, more edgy humor,
Mhm.
Filthy Frank for a little bit, a little bit of like Sunday, but like, my humor grew a little bit over time. I mean, it's still middle school humor, but yeah, those were the people that I watched.
No, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Did you ever watch Aviator Gaming?
I feel like I've heard the name before, but
He
no.
was yeah, and then like Big Mac Nation um was his brother, and then there was Basherverse. was a big one.
Basherverse. What was the controversy with that? Because there was this whole big thing where
Yep.
I don't know, he was like severely bullied or something. Like something happened. It was with
I I'm pretty sure he was talking to kids, and they wanted to bring him on like this team, and like that ended up not happening because he was talking to kids. But yeah, that was
yeah.
yeah.
That was there. Well, there was a lot of Minecraft YouTubers who did that. It's kind of like a joke at
It
this
was a
point.
big yeah, no, it was a big running thing. That was shocking. But okay, so that makes sense. All right, so you were there towards like when I think of Rice Gum, I think of Rice Gum with a mattress behind him and a microphone, and like that was the Rice Gum like I was watching. My brother told me he's going nowhere. He has no skill. I told him, you don't see the vision.
Well, did you watch him like when he started doing like when he started branching out a little bit when he was like a millionaire and like did the flexing, like, and that was his whole big thing, and then eventually he did the every night sis video.
I watched some of them, but like it wasn't. No, I was definitely there for like the rap, the diss tracks, and then like when those stopped, it was definitely less. But like I would check and then I'd probably like binge them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean with him, he kind of, I don't say he left after iDubbbz did the, well, you know about like how iDubbbz did the content cop on him and then made the diss track, and like a lot of people just started not liking him after that because they're like, wait, this guy's kind of like, doing some like not good things, like, because iDubbbz made some like good fair points at the time, and then also made a very 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 good diss track on him, right?
Nah, that's when Rice Gum came back with "Freak the Police," though. Um,
Right. Well, he did that, but like it wasn't like, if you look at the views, it's like he had like a third of the views like on that video compared to Asian Jake Paul. I don't know that by heart, but like if you look
let
at
me
it,
check. Let me check.
I
I
know
don't know
how it
how it did, but I know that when I'm on shuffle on my phone, that comes up every now and then. Okay, dude, 34 million views. But let's check out Content Cop, Rice Gum. Let's see how these aged over time. Content Cop against Rice Gum. When you look up Content Cop Rice Gum,
yeah, that's Asian, that's
Rice
Jake
Gum's
Paul.
diss track comes up first.
Yeah, but if you look up, okay, well, if you look up like Asian, like the music video itself, maybe it'll be more. I don't know. Like I don't know
Let me
this by
check.
heart, like I said.
No. Jake Paul. Oh, iDubbbz still might have deleted it.
He
Oh
might
no,
have.
right here. Oh no, 1.5 million, but I don't think this is the same one.
No, it might have been re-uploaded. I think he
Yeah.
deleted a lot of his videos because he changed because like he started to like, he wanted to move past like bullying and like
Mhm.
he like negative content. Like I remember he said that in H3H3's podcast, and also just he said that on his own like YouTube video, like because he came out recently saying like, oh, I'm tired of making negative content. I'm gonna make things that are better for the world, like sort of
Now,
thing.
now, if you check when that lines up with time wise, though, don't you think it's kind of interesting that it was like right after Instagram changed their guidelines to stop giving them CPM because of bullying?
Well, like, did they make like a specific
Yep.
guideline or?
They said no bullying, diss tracks were no longer allowed, videos targeting influencers were no longer allowed. And then that's when these people were like, "Oh, Rice Gum said I don't want to do diss tracks anymore," and iDubbbz was like, "Oh, like no, this isn't me anymore." So these all these influencers started to change from it, and then the ad apocalypse came a little bit later. But
Well, I think with iDubbbz, it was kind of a gradual thing. Like for years, he's kind of been trying to move away from negative content because, like, if you look, and like it's very gradual, right? But it was for a bunch of different reasons. Like his girlfriend started doing OnlyFans, right, which was a big
mhm.
thing because then people started harassing him, and he was like, "Oh, well, it's only okay if it's somebody else." And then people started. I don't know the full story, but then eventually he was on the podcast, I think, with H3H3, and they asked him if he would be willing to make another content copy. He's like, no, I think it's just with getting older, you want to, I don't know if that's what, like the image I want to put out into the world.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
that was with just like, I think that, like I said, and also a few months ago, he made a video saying that he doesn't want to do those types of videos anymore.
I mean, a few months ago, yeah, is very late
Yeah.
on that. I feel like he should have, yeah.
Well, he said it years ago and like months ago, like during COVID and now. So
He
it's
stayed
like,
true to it, is what you're saying.
yeah. Although he did want to box Rice Gum, according to Keemstar, which is
When
it,
was this back in the
uh,
day or like recent?
no, it was like kind of recent, like 6 months ago at least. But like he did want to box Rice Gum. He did get into influencer boxing a little bit. I liked iDubbbz though. I think like he made some good content back in the day, but
I
times are
enjoyed the
different.
content cops. Content cops, it obviously took like in like listen, I make like a minute video and that takes a while, but like to make that long of a video and that in depth is ridiculous. Months of planning. It's ridiculous.
Right. And he also ended up like changing a lot of people's reputations because of it. Because he really like broke down in a funny way too. You
Well,
know.
he kind of destroyed
Different
some
people.
people's reputations.
Right. Well, I mean, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that was right or wrong. Like, but
No, I
he
get you.
really did.
Some of the people
Yeah.
definitely deserved it though.
Yeah. No, I mean, I miss it, but what's it called? So with regards to him, did you ever like not specifically him, but like creators in his time. Like, so you grew up like a little bit around then.
Yeah, a little bit for sure. I was watching YouTube still around when those diss tracks came out. When he was dating like a 21-year-old at the time. And he was 17, and that was when the diss track with Rice Gum came out. So I was still watching towards then, but then a little after it stopped.
What do you think of Aiden Ross?
I like Aiden Ross. I think it's dope what he's doing for Kick. I think that Twitch. I never liked stream. I never wanted to stream because Twitch is just like an all. I don't think it's a great platform, so I won't stream on Twitch. And TikTok wasn't advanced enough, and it still isn't. So I think that Kick's an amazing solution. I think that it's great to be promoting something like that for influencers.
It's fair. That's fair. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions on him. Kai
You see the
Cenat?
video with him and Sosa?
Not who is Sosa?
Chief Keef. He was on stage with him, and then he said the N word because he was like, "Say it," and then Aiden Ross was like, "Say it," and he was like, "Yeah," and then Aiden said it.
I did not see that video.
That was some controversy. That was yeah.
Was
And
that
then he
recent?
also like a week ago, and then he also got a Rolls Royce from
I did see
Kick.
that from the president of Kick. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really cool. But that also could have just been a marketing stunt.
Yeah, but
Probably
like,
was.
what did Kick do, or what did Twitch do for Kai? They gave him like custom Jordans that were like $200 off like an Etsy.
Well, Twitch is a very, very controversial platform in terms of its the way it treats its creators. Especially in terms of like moderation and stuff.
What do you think about Twitch versus Kick?
I mean, like, I don't personally have an opinion on it, because like from what I've seen, Kick seems to be a little bit, more giving and generous to like the bigger creators and stuff. Whereas Twitch kind of just, a lot of people left it for that reason. Like Ninja left it for Mixer because he found a better deal with Mixer, you know. So personally, I don't blame Aiden Ross. I would have picked it too, unless if Twitch paid me or gave me something much more. So let me ask you this: in terms of the content, and this is a little bit switching, but
No
in
problem.
terms of like content that you've made, right? The biggest video, or not the biggest, but like the most videos on your TikTok, most of them are the storytime TikToks. Where did they come from? Where did the storytime TikToks come from? Are all of them true, or
Yeah, I mean, so like for the most part, I was at work, so like I'd be able to just like film whatever was happening that day and like sum it up. And like obviously when you're trying to fit it into like an exact script, it's not exactly like what was happening. You know what I mean? So you have to try to fit it into like into a similar script, right? Because I was shooting for the algorithm, not necessarily the followers. So it was kind of annoying for followers to continuously see the same script, but that was doing really well at the time. So that was definitely well. Actually, that the first video I posted was just that because I had a story, so I did that, and I had saw Gabby something on YouTube back then was doing stuff like
Gabby
that.
Hanna?
She had Gabby Hanna had her storytime series, so I was like, all right. So I was the first to like bring that on TikTok, and then like obviously once the first one did great, like the first day of having my account. So after that, I was like, I'm going to continue with them just because like this is hitting.
So was it like just instantly you woke up or you posted it and you just had ding 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 ding, or was it, because that's how a lot of creators describe it, where it's like they just post one thing and then it's just ding 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 ding, like, and like on their phone, and they're all wake up to all these millions of notifications. Was it like that for you, or is it like it does really good and then you just posted some more, or
Well, I was going into work at like 5 a.m. every morning. So I filmed it when the sun came up at like, wow, I was actually going in at 4 at that time. So I would film it when the sun came up at like 6 o'clock. And then when I filmed it, I probably edited it some point in between break on work. You know what I mean? Like when I had a break, I edited it and probably posted it before 7. So by 9 o'clock, my friend who was like, oh, try TikTok, shot me a text and he was like, yo, look at this. And it was like at 25,000 views. And I'd say by the next morning, it was, at a million.
it's good. That's really impressive. So that was the first video you ever posted on TikTok, or
No, that was probably the fifth video, but it was like it was the second day. So like I had posted some the night before, and then I woke up, I posted that one, and it was like that one.
if I might ask, what's like the most viewed piece of content you've ever put out?
Um, in between 15 and 20 million views, I think on TikTok. Might be more though, because the weird thing about like old videos is like the ones that are that big will continue to randomly push out. Like I'll get videos now that are from 2019 that like I'll get notifications like 100 people just like this. So it's like, well, that's really weird. But I'd probably say 20 million, maybe more. I'll confirm, but I'd say probably 20 million, and it's the most shared video. It was like the most shared video for I until a ShareBot came out like a couple months later, and then they had like 100 billion. So it was like, but at the time it was the most shared video because I took David Dobrik's video and I said this is the most shared video, like let's pass it. And that at the time shares counted for so much on the algorithm that it had like 5 million shares just because people were share copy link, and it took over the algorithm for like weeks. Everyone, that was a crazy video.
Did David ever DM you?
No, I don't think at the time David was rocking with TikTok like that. He was posting like every now and then. It was like his like random thing. But no, I don't even I doubt he to be fair, I never used to check the comments on anything. So going back now, it's kind of upsetting because like I'll see like, oh, this person commented. I'll be like, I really wish that at the time I was looking. You know what I mean? So I'll actually have to go check.
Yeah, no, that would be really cool if he DM'd you. Because if somebody made a video about me saying, "Let's pass this guy's record," and then they pass my record, I'd be like, I'll be a little bit upset, in a good way, in a good way.
I didn't know TikTok had DMs for a while. So like my DM, so I apologize to anyone, but I was watching this like interview of Shaq and he was like, "Oh, I didn't know that they had DMs on Instagram." So like that day I was looking up like trying to find that meme and it was somebody like remade it about TikTok and I was like, "Oh, like I so then I got to answer a lot of people that I didn't answer for a minute, but
Well, okay, so I've spoken to different people, like even accounts with like 50,000 followers, right? Not on TikTok, but on Instagram. So like this one guy that I knew that worked at Barstool Sports, he was showing me like in person, like because I think I messed because I it's on my Instagram. Like I took a photo with him and I tagged him, and he was like he had to like scroll through within like because I tagged him, and it shows up in your DMs on Instagram, but he was like looking through for like scrolling through, and there was already like 5 other people that had DM'd him, like just to find my tag. There was like 5 people above me, and I was like, wait, what? How? And like he's like, could you imagine what it's like for like an account with like 2 million followers? It's because he's like he only had like 50,000 followers at the time. So like, was it like that for you, or like was it a lot less?
no, it's definitely was like that, especially at the time. Like you got to think about in a week, I'd probably have like 5 videos that were over a million. So like these are people that are either DMing for part twos, DMing for, and this is like, when I was probably when I was doing story times. Nowadays it's a little less, but like if you even look, I mean, notification based, if you were to DM me on TikTok, it would not be not be seen. There's just no way because there's just hundreds a day, and it's weird because it's mostly because I have the check mark. I think it puts me a little further up on the share list. So when people click like share, they like click my name because it has DJ and then the check mark. So like I cannot, I would never be able to see notifications on TikTok. Instagram, I could definitely send it. I haven't posted in like, you know, a year, but they'll still be like likes here and there. And I could find you. I have a meme page on Instagram too with like 100,000 followers, and when you post on there, I used to have like my dinger go off in high school, and this was like freshman year, and it would be like ding 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 ding. So I had to shut all my notifications off. I have no buzz on my phone. Like if you text me, if anything, no buzz.
I knew someone that has like 500K on Instagram, and they keep their phone on do not disturb at all times. Do you do that too, or?
I remove notifications for like TikTok, Instagram, because well back in 2019, my phone almost broke from it would like when the notifications would pop up. I don't think that like it was able to handle it. So like my phone was like overheating and like it was stopping. So I couldn't even go in there to shut it off. So I had to bring that in to shut that off. But it would like actually caused a really bad issue on my phone.
So what, like, at what point was this? Like, was this you when? Because if you started when you were, like, what age? Like,
17,
yeah,
18.
17 or so. Bless you.
Thank you.
But if you started like when you were 17 or 18, right? Was it
Mhm.
like so freshman year of high school, you had an account and that you were just getting DMs constantly on and like messages and likes and everything, or?
Freshman year, I had an Instagram. So I did meme pages before. So I have the meme page at Lollipop. And I was getting, yeah, notifications all day on that because it would be like posts. We'd be posting probably like 12 times a day. And, you know, even if you have 500 likes on each post, it's going to ring all day.
Right. So like what if so even if I text you on like iMessage, you won't get the notification.
It'll give me a notification like on my phone, but like for example, this was like a Gmail, like it's not gonna buzz. Like my phone has no vibration added because it was just too distracting for me with everything. So even a text won't buzz. Like if I look at my phone, and I check my phone all the time, but you know I don't need to have the buzz when I'm looking at my phone every 2 seconds. For a call, it'll buzz, but not no notification, no message.
So this leads me into a follow-up question. In terms of like a day of work, right, for DJFord, what does that look like?
So I do the TikTok stuff, but behind the scenes, like I gotta reach out to companies and stuff along that lines. So I will do that through the TikTok like creator marketplace, or I'm lucky I have a manager and friends that are able to help. So they're you know they'll answer emails. I'll try to make content. I'll answer ads. Most of the time, I have to come up with like a brand will be like, how can you promote our product? And think of it as like a bounty, and they put it up and they'll say how can you promote our product, and my job is to be like I have 2 million followers, I can promote your product by doing this. So most of the time I'll relate it to like my most recent series. So like my most recent series was like I upgraded my little brother's room. So like I'll be like, if you send your product, I'm going to get it, I'm going to say that I'm giving it to my little brother, and I'm going to film his reactions so it matches the exact script of that, and then I add those as references for the video, and they're able to see those and the pitch. And then most of the time, I'm able to lock them in. So I'm either doing that or I'm doing the other side of my business is social media marketing for companies. So I get paid to keep pages up and push engagement.
So if you had any advice for people like trying to get into this like type of industry of like media management and like social media specifically, what would it be?
If you wanted to get into social media, I would say to just you got to go into it. You know what I mean? There's no better time than now. I think that a lot of people get nervous and get this and that. But I always tell people if you were to post on like a new YouTube account that no one knows about, either people are going to know because it's doing so well, or no one's going to know about it. And there's no risk either way, you know? So you should definitely try to make whatever content you want to make. And if your goal is to like gain followers and stuff, then you should try to follow the algorithm, you know? We're all on the same algorithm. So like you and me, we're posting on the same TikTok algorithm and we're fighting for the same spot. So it's like, you keep that in mind.
So let me ask you this: why is it that you know you get somebody like Charlie D'Amelio or Bella Porch, right? Who they post. Well, Charlie D'Amelio not as much anymore, but at one point she was, and I think still is one of the most followed TikTokers of all time. All right, she has like 100 million followers at least, I think. How, like, what exactly did she do to get that type of like those numbers?
For Charlie, I would definitely say that timing, right? So she's on the platform, she's posting. First off, she had she was still making content, and just like every other TikToker. But then when you start to have a wave, the algorithm wasn't designed for that. So there weren't famous people on there yet, really. So anyone who did have a big following, if you had people that were going on your page to check stuff, you were going to continue to hit the algorithm, and that's why we saw her, we saw Alexis Finch, we saw um we all these different Addison Ray, all these different influencers that once they got a little bit of hype, you'd see their account skyrocket up, and it's because the algorithm was rewarding them for having these people on their page and having people engage, even if it's just watching it. They're still getting those bonus points with the algorithm. But I think Charlie's a really what the platform needed, right? She was a dancer at the time, and it was a dance platform. She fed into the algorithm. She kept working. She had the meet and greet. She gave back to charity. She's from Connecticut, so she's from my home state. Um, yeah, and Dixie too. They then went on to go do the Hype House, and they have their own show now. So I think it's you also have to market off that, right? Because when we talk about those influencers, not all of those people who had that little boost made it as far.
So then you get, and this is part of it. So nowadays, now like the most viewed person, I would like back in compared to 2010, for example, we had PewDiePie, who is still one of the most subscribed to YouTubers of all time, right? Um, he still has like 111 million subscribers, and you get Mr. Beast, who has like 107, I think 200 million now, something around 200 million subscribers, or 190 million. So how is it that Mr. Beast on every platform just seems to be like endlessly succeeding? Because from my understanding, he studied it like every day, all day for thousands of hours, just looking at the most trending videos and mimicking that to some degree, like down to the brightness. But from your perspective, what is part of Mr. Beast's success?
From my perspective, when I started social media, Mr. Beast was counting to 10,000. And I was watching those videos like, oh, this is
Right, I
weird.
was
Like,
too. Yeah.
you know, and that's when I had started my channel. So he was, barely at a million. So like when he hit 2 million, I was kind of, getting closer to a million. So like that gives you a comparison of he had a different strategy than anyone else on the platform or anyone else on social media ever. And now it's used decently, but it was to take the budget and to reinvest it into the videos. And a lot of these YouTubers did that to an extent, but they were not going to put, to be fair, he's given a lot more money now because of this, but they were not going to put all this money into these videos when they didn't have to. If they put $10,000 into the video, it's going to be an amazing video, make them 100,000. And why would they need to put more into that? But Mr. Beast took the alternative approach of literally putting every single dime into it. And then you think about how he has like Feastables, Mr. Beast Burger, all these different products that his viewers can buy, and it's direct profit. All that is where you make the most money, is when you have your own product and you're selling it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you said that that's the reason he does it, because he likes having control over his own business, because all of his videos now get like more views than the Super Bowl. So when you get an advertiser, they like in some cases, like YouTube needs to pay like 50% of all of its creator like ad revenue to Mr. Beast in order to be fair to like the clicks ratio, and all these companies need to pay like half their yearly ad revenue or like sponsorships on Mr. Beast because it's basically the equivalent of a Super Bowl ad. So with someone like him, you know, it's so difficult for him to actually like make money back in all of his videos, considering he's doing stuff like shredding Lamborghinis, right? It's a lot to spend. He's so turn it back. He's I think now trying to create his own businesses. You know, I can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh, my fault, my fault, my fault.
Sorry.
Totally forgot. I don't think that Mr. Beast is trying to like make money back. I think that he's just very successful in it, and in the fact that like when you have a customer that goes into a store, and like I have a little brother, they all, you know, young kids love Mr. Beast and have for like a minute. So when you go into a store and you see that, it's not very hard to convince mom to buy a $2 chocolate bar. So I think that it was just really taking advantage of his spot. And like the same thing with Logan Paul and Prime, you know, KSI and Prime. It's taking advantage of your position and then pushing out a product to be able to make the most possible money. You know, you obviously have to believe the product and like it, but you know, when it comes to a chocolate bar, it's not too complicated.
Yeah,
It's pretty
no, I
complicated,
know.
but still.
Well, he did the chocolate bar thing also because he just thought that like people had a monopoly on chocolate, like Hershey's and stuff. And it's like only four chocolate companies, so it would make a lot more sense if he got in on that, right? It's not exactly a super big market where everyone's like a super flooded or oversaturated one, right? So he just decided to make his own with a bunch of control. Funny enough, I think he opened Mr. Beast Burger in the American Dream Mall, which is in New Jersey, which is where I'm
He did.
from. Yeah.
He said, "I don't care how much we lose today. We're feeding everybody."
Yeah, that's a typical Mr. Beast video. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he also, I mean, here's top knowledge. Here's like new technology that's AI, and Mr. Beast is the reason I do this now. But I have content that is in Spanish, and here. Semanas sin teléfono ni internet. Cambiaré algo en su habitación cada día y grabaré su reacción. Speak a word of Spanish, and I didn't film that, but AI can transfer it, and that's because Mr. Beast dubs his videos in all these other languages. And he makes a killing off of that. Just having all the different platforms that are untapped, and you got to think about it. Some of these other countries within these other languages don't have traditional like YouTubers that are doing the content that American YouTubers are.
Well, I think part of also with Mr. Beast is that he also just has access to different resources and people that most people don't. Like the person that dubs his Japan audio, the Japanese, is actually the voice actor of Naruto, which like I think a lot of people have seen that TikTok, but it's still really cool.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would have chosen the voice actor for Goku, but you know that's just me. So in terms of somebody like Mr. Beast, right? In terms of the people that are just doing really, really well, like on the platform, or just anybody at all, like who's your favorite content creator on any platform, mainly TikTok?
I mean, mainly TikTok. I would have to. Yeah. I'd have to go. I'd have to go with I'd have to go with Nick DeVito, Marquay, the Goat, Colin Ray. I'd have to go with like friends. Because like these are the people I watch. You know what I mean? When I go into following, like these are like who I'm swiping through. Um, uh, I like Kyle has a good TikTok. Kyle like I Spy. Um, Lil Xan has a good TikTok. But yeah, no, most of the time I'm in like the following page only because like the algorithm isn't too in depth. I don't spend too much time on it.
Well, like for me, right? It's kind of funny because like when I started doing this, you know, I because like the first person I got was somebody that I watched like for a while, like Improvement Pill, right? Like 3.4 million subs, and then like all of a sudden, then we start talking like very casually. So like, is it ever? Or then like the second guy I had on like Vile Eye, right? He does like analyzing evil videos on YouTube, right? And those get those do pretty well on YouTube. And like I was a really big fan of his videos and I just messaged him and he responded back. And it's kind of a cool feeling because but it's also a funny one because you know you're watching this person's videos and you kind of don't imagine them as a real person, and then like you message them and then like they become real to you, and then you're like kind of friends with them, and it's a funnier feeling because then I don't like almost don't want to watch their videos anymore because I'm like this is like my friend stuff now, you know. So like, did you ever get any of that like with DMing anybody or messaging anybody that you were a fan of?
No, I mean, like, I feel like definitely, it's more like people that, I've been in group chats and talked to almost any um, TikToker that like I've watched. So like I will say, it's definitely it is weird, but it does reinforce the fact that like everybody's just a person. So like even the most famous
Yeah.
person, which like none of the TikTokers I'm saying much more famous than the TikTokers, like movie stars, they're people. So definitely once you so if you wanted to approach influencers, it's definitely smart to go and approach them being like, I like your content, I'd like to interview you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understanding that, you know, everybody's just a person. That's exactly what it is, you know. And you know, it's not that like I put these people on like a pedestal. It's just like, you know, for years you're watching these people and you just hear about them and then all of a sudden like you start talking to them and you're like, oh, this person's like a real person, if that makes sense. Like you kind of imagine like almost like a cartoon character in a way, you know.
No,
No, but it's
100%.
yeah,
Because
no, it's
because there's a whole life like behind the screen. You know what I mean?
no, absolutely. Right. No, so well, you said you've been in like group chats with a bunch of different TikTokers. So if there's ever has there any been like any, you know, I don't want to say people that have become your friends, but you know, just people that you've reached out to that you thought were pretty cool, you know, just either on TikTok or YouTube or wherever.
Yeah, no, 100%. I would say Colin Ray. I watched his content for a really long time, for like years before I ever messaged him or did anything. And he surpassed me in followers. Like I was following him when he had like 100,000, and I was pretty high up at the time. But he passed me. And one day I'm driving to college, and I got a FaceTime call, and I was like, "Oh, this is weird." And it was Colin Ray. I was like, "Oh, yeah." I didn't even give up. Like, I don't remember giving him my phone number. Like, I don't think I did. So like, I don't know how he got my phone number, but I get a FaceTime call. It's a random number. I pick it up. I'm like, Colin Ray. At this time, he like had like his hair was all a different color, so it was like very noticeable who it was. I was like, this is really weird. How are you? Okay, so we're friends now. I gotta ask him how he got my phone number because that's strange.
That's I mean, white pages is a magical thing, you know. There's a lot of creators that get their numbers leaked and or you know, they just you know, strange fans and stuff. You ever get any
White
strange
pages
fans?
is crazy. Yeah, no, there's definitely been crazy stuff sent to like my DMs and stuff and comments and emails and but you keep pushing.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. That's I think like Logan Paul, for example, he got his if I'm not mistaken, I think there was like some guy who drove a car like through his house fence or something like that. The guy ended up going to prison, obviously, but like, you know, there's some very interesting people out there.
Drive a car through my house fence and see what happens. They're gonna go, things are gonna get wicked, okay? That's not gonna end well. They're gonna end up hitting my house. I don't even think I'm gonna just run out the back. I'm just gonna be running out the backyard.
I don't know. There's just very interesting people out there. Um, so this is a question that you suggested me to ask, and that being, why did the story times have to end?
Okay. Wait. So the reason I suggested this was because yeah, so like I did story times for a while, but when like now you need a minute content to make like we make as much as YouTubers. Like it's crazy. Like TikTokers now make as much as YouTubers. So it's like if you just have a minute content, you're making as much as these people that are making a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's beyond sponsorships. So everyone had to get on sponsorships. But now you don't need to have that many followers to make money. If you have 100,000, you're probably making a good amount. So the reason I stopped the story times was because if I do video about my family or something like that, it's not only engaging the audience with like my own life and like obviously maturing and growing up and switching my content, but it's also a place to be able to put in a product, if it's a product I like or if it's a product I want to share with people. If it's an ad, you know what I mean? I can fit the ads in very well throughout the other content. And not only that is the algorithm, you know, they're all over a minute. So every one of those story times are about 15 to 17 seconds, and I shoot for that pretty accurately. So nowadays, everyone is like 102, 101, so that I get my CPM. I'm able to fit in ads in it, and it hits the algorithm a lot better. Because a lot of the times, the algorithms will change and they'll start boosting like whatever they want to be popular. So when TikTok did that, they started boosting only a minute videos, and that was, you know, that was a big change.
So this is, a bit of a follow up, somewhat related. Are there any videos that you haven't uploaded that remain unreleased?
I had like a drama with some influencers back in the day, and I got some messages and emails to take some stuff down from like multiple um from the agency I was on at the time and like different stuff like that. So I ended up taking a video down that got 10 million views in 3 hours. So that was probably on track to do pretty well.
Stuff happens. I'm not gonna ask you for any names. I'm not gonna ask you for any names.
You could
But
ask me after, and I'll tell you the story.
yeah, I can hear about all the gossip. But no, but
I got you.
yeah. So now let me ask you, in terms of, are there any, not necessarily unreleased, but just videos that you wish you could make, that you would want to make, like, that either you don't have the time to, you don't have the resources to, money, whatever, you just want to make it either in the future at some point, or you just can't.
I mean, now it's kind of like it's a really unique situation because I did the Jackson series to be able to have back-to-back videos that followers would enjoy and like not, be upset and get revenue. So now it's really weird because all of that has paid out and all of the ads that were in there also paid out. So it's like now it's kind of getting to the point where there's a lot of resources to make videos, and I have to start contemplating what type of videos do I want to make. Do I want to just start upgrading people's rooms? Do I want to, start giving out money? Like what type of style? So that's like a interesting fork in the road right now.
Well, like, in terms of, I'm not gonna say the type of content that I want to make, right? Not that's bad. It's just like I don't want to spoil anything in the future. So like for me, right, there is content that I want to make that I just like, but it's like I have to ask certain people to do it with, right? So in terms of that, that would be like I have that limitation of like, hard to make the certain type of video that I want, right? But I really do like it when I make that type of video. So is there anything that like you just really enjoy that you would really like want to see yourself doing?
Yeah, no, I mean when you put it like that, I would enjoy doing like a podcast or something along those lines to be able to get guests and stuff like that. But with school work and then TikTok, um, TikTok less so, but school and work, it's um it's less time. Something's in the works with it though. I'm trying to figure it out on how to do a podcast too.
You should have just contacted me. You just be a recurring guest. You
Let
free?
me know.
Yeah, you're free to come back anytime. If you want, bring somebody on. That'd be good. Um. So actually, that's it. Here's a good question. If you wanted to interview somebody, if you want to do what I was doing, if you wanted to be in my chair, who would you interview?
I'm gonna have to go, Nick DeVito, Colin Ray. I'm gonna have to go Mark Way. I'm gonna have to, all friends. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like everyone that I name has been really supportive throughout the years and helped. So I would definitely want to talk to them. And like all of them have these amazing platforms that they're able to keep up for. You got to think about it. It's been, you know, it's been five years now. So like all these people have kept up these platforms for 5 years and are getting amazing. Marquay gets like crazy best views now than ever. You know what I mean? So I'd want to interview them just about like how they were doing that. And then um, you know, rice gum, throwing rice gum. I like rice gum.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you could just shoot him a DM at this point. He'd say yes. You know.
Possibly. Rice gum left YouTube and did like the OnlyFans stuff for a little bit, but um nowadays he's like back in the interviews. That's why I'm hanging out with some people.
Well, I remember Kyle Forgiard, like the Nelk boys. They interviewed him and Aiden Ross. I think they've interviewed some really big people like Donald Trump. ISO Speed. I think that's mainly because of their manager. They just have a very good manager, John. But they did have him on, so that's interesting though. That would be a sick interview. Rice Gum.
That'd be a guy. I have a lot of questions for Rice.
That's something I feel like we should work on together.
I'd be
I
down.
I'd be down. I'll talk to you more about that in private. Um, so when you wake up, let me ask you this: do you just check your phone immediately?
Most of the time. I mean, like, I'll wake up, I'll get, I do social media marketing for companies, so I'll get everyone's video done. So if I have 5 companies, I'm getting 5 separate videos done. So that's going to take about 30, 40 minutes in the morning to just kind of, because I did most of them the night before, or like at least had an idea, got the videos ready. So like I'm just kind of finishing it up, sending them out to them, trying to get the approval. So that's first when I wake up. And then, I'm going out and going to the bathroom, stuff like that. I'm not on my phone. But yes, I'm checking my phone right away.
So when you wake up, do you ever have a very positive, like, okay, because this is something I wanted to ask like a few different people, but do you ever like wake up and you're like, I have 2 million followers on TikTok? Like, do you just have ever like a great sense of accomplishment either after a video or just like you reach a certain milestone?
Yeah, I will say it's addictive. The feeling, because there's definitely times where like obviously you'll post a video and it'll flop and you're like, oh, this is really, like the awkward. But then there'll be times where you post and it's like, oh, that's a million views, like top of the world. It's definitely to me. It's not necessarily like you wake up like, oh, whoa, but it's like when you see like the views and stuff climbing for the first couple times in the first minute, and honestly, it never really gets old. It's it's like an adrenaline kick for sure.
I think that's how a lot of people feel.
100%. Like it's understandable because it's gets addictive, and then if you could do it again and again, it's like whoa.
So do you know? I think I spoke to you about this too in private, but what's it called? With Daniel Mack, right? He's personally one of my favorite TikTokers, if not my favorite TikToker, right? The guy that's like, hey, what do you do for a living? What do you think of his videos?
I love his videos. So the reason Daniel Mack was able to do so good is because of the repetitive nature of his content. When you have content that goes viral, TikTok's like a staple algorithm. So when you have a content that goes viral, you have to try to remake that content as close as possible, but while giving value still. And you're shooting for the algorithm. So Daniel Mack had the same sort of content. He could film 10 a day, and every one of them is going to hit the algorithm because it's very similar. So it would be, it's similar to story times, how I was able to do like the different ones, and they're all very similar, but he's able to do that all very similar, adds value to it. People enjoy the cars, they want to know, you know what I mean? So love his content, really smart gameplay.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true about the cars. People, a Lamborghini will get views. Ferrari will get views. Stuff like that. We see it with guys like Whistling Diesel. Danny Duncan. They get tons of views on their videos just by cars and their thumbnails.
You'd be surprised though how many luxury car owners have YouTube channels with like a couple hundred followers.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I've seen it. Um, so how long do you see this? You're doing like yourself doing this for? This is a question I also have for some other influencers because I'm not to say like, oh, your time is limited like on like YouTube or this forum, like platform, but like in terms of social media, it's a very new thing, number one, but also it's becoming a point where it's like the standard. But also, a lot of things and platforms are very fleeting. So TikTok, you know, and YouTube. Well, YouTube is probably the longest standing, but all these other platforms, like there's many that have came and left. Like Twitch, is kind of a little bit older, and people don't really like it as much. And now we have Kick. So, how long do you see yourself doing like the TikToks for?
I mean, like TikTok almost got banned a couple times in the US, right? It's banned in India, it's banned in other countries. It's not the end all. That's why I have a Snapchat show. That's why I do the social media marketing, which is Instagram. So, when it breaks down into it, there'd have to be every single social media. I also do LinkedIn stuff for companies. So like every single social media would have to go down to make my work not no longer needed. So, if I'm able to gain a company 30 followers a day that are interested in their product, for the same price as another company that's only going to make your nice looking post and it does nothing because it doesn't hit anyone. I'll make you a video with all this stuff and it's going to hit. So that's why I do that stuff nowadays. But I doubt that. How old's Jimmy right now?
Like 27, I think, if even.
How old's PewDiePie?
35 probably. He has a kid now, so he's up there in age.
All right, call it if I have a kid. If I have a kid, I'm probably calling it.
That's fair. That's when PewDiePie called it, because now no, he retired like 2 or 3 years ago. Back when I was in like seventh grade, which is kind of crazy to think now. But I remember he said that he was officially retired, like he was just doing the videos for fun. And then he got married and had a kid. Well, now he had the kid. He had the kid like recently, but it's still very interesting to think. Dan TDM also has a kid now. Most of the big YouTubers have kids now.
Talk about how PewDiePie's kid's set.
I don't know actually. I mean, like, yeah, they have a lot of money, but the thing is, PewDiePie. What? Why do you think?
Not money, not money. It's the influence, right? So like that's like XXX's kid. If that kid drops a mixtape, I guarantee you that sells 200,000 the first week. I promise, no matter what. I don't care if he dropped it at Adonis's age right now. Like look at Drake's kid, Adonis, with his, like don't talk to my man like that. You know what I mean? Like you have all these different influencers and their children. Like I think that that's going to end up being like a big thing where like PewDiePie's kid, if he picks up, if they decide to pick up a camera, it'll be
It's possible, but it could also be the total opposite, because you got to think about it like from the perspective of like Will Smith's kids. Like they're big, but it's like they're not at the same level as, I would say, in my opinion, as someone like Will Smith, or like they're not A-lister celebrities, and in some cases they're not anywhere near at the same point as their parents were at their age, right? Celebrities' kids are either exactly like their parents or very, very different from their parents.
yeah, but when you're comparing them to Will Smith, you know what I mean? I'd say that like, Will Smith's kids, all did like pretty well compared to like the average child. So that's what I mean is if PewDiePie's kid wants it, they definitely have a career in social media for sure.
That's if they want to do it, because you also got to understand that to some extent, think about it like this, not people don't want to be like their parents, necessarily all like I don't want to say in most cases, but it's like there's always some aspect of your parents that a person doesn't want to become, you know.
Yes, so like they'd have to not want to be on social media at all, but like the fact that the younger generations, everyone has social media and everybody's posting at least something. So even if they have a social media that's private, you know what I mean? They're still, I don't know. I feel like some of them will definitely enjoy it. I'm interested to see how long like Nelk goes about it. But then Joe Rogan, how old's he? You switch over to you just make your content appropriate for your age. I think that the people that are like posting thirst traps at 50 something is crazy. I really scroll and I'm like, this is crazy. This is not for me.
Well, I think in terms of like Joe Rogan, he just picked. Well, most people don't know how the show actually started, which was originally, obviously he was the Fear Factor UFC commentator and stuff, but then one day he started a YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken, and he started uploading episodes of him and his friend. And he's like, "Oh, let's just start a show, like just for the fun of it." And then eventually, after like 3 episodes, he's like, "There's only so much we can talk about." And then eventually, he's like, "Let me bring somebody else on." Then he brings a celebrity on, then another celebrity, then another celebrity, and then eventually, he's just the biggest podcast of all time, right? But that was how he brought about it though.
I mean, Joe Rogan definitely is in a unique situation.
I like Joe Rogan. What are your thoughts on Joe Rogan?
Love Joe Rogan. Watch, great clips. But he's in a unique spot for sure because he's posted on Spotify, and he has Spotify set. He was what Kanye was to Adidas before Kanye went off the rails. They couldn't get rid of him until they could, but Joe Rogan, like they can't get rid of him unless he goes on some crazy derailment, and they don't want to. Joe has a great podcast, number one podcast in the world, and he's able to talk about whatever he wants.
He's also, from what I've heard, because I don't know him personally. I think I know someone who knew a couple of his producers. He's exactly how he is on and off camera. He's a very cool, down to earth guy. There's not really much about him that's he's not like a flawed person. He's a very open minded, likable, nature esque, man's man. He's good in a lot of ways. I like him.
100%.
Yeah, I like watching his interviews. I get actually, funny enough, when I was starting this, I started watching his interviews to learn a lot, and I did. Yeah.
Nah, he's one of the best in the game. You know what I mean? Like I don't know any other podcasts that are doing the numbers he's doing.
Well, not Nelk. I don't want to say no. Well, actually, Andrew Schultz, he's doing pretty good numbers. He's doing 33 million sometimes a podcast. Funny enough, I think that, yeah, Andrew Schultz is doing some pretty good numbers, like 10 million, 12 million.
What's Joe's at?
Joe's most viewed ones are 60 million, but they're also the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Andrew Schultz with Flagrant. I don't want to say he's doing better, because he's definitely not doing better, but he's doing equal to, right, at best, which is very good, all things considered.
Mm-hmm. No,
That's
I
in
wonder if
terms
they'll
of,
ever. What'd you say?
I was saying that's in terms of YouTube views though. So
No, I was talking about more. Yeah, but that's if you look at his versus Joe Rogan's YouTube views, I'm sure he got Joe beat on there. But I'm talking about overall podcast plays through Spotify. Joe's by far the number one podcast. It's crazy.
well, because he in a way, Joe appeals to everybody. It's kind of like the Amazon of podcasts, because it's you find psychologists, researchers, lab assistants, or just Jamie Foxx. You find a lot of different types of people, and a lot of them just so happen to be friends with Joe. And in some cases, he builds people's careers, like with Elon.
Do you think he built Elon's career?
Yeah, I think he did. Because think about it, right? You didn't know who Elon was before he was on Joe Rogan. I'm saying, he built his name and reputation, in my opinion.
Maybe a little, maybe he helped, but I think that I don't think he single-handedly built.
Not
Elon's
single-handedly.
reputation.
Single-handedly, no, obviously not. Elon's a very hardworking person, from what I've been told. So, not that I know anyone that knows him personally, but I'm saying from my understanding, yeah, from my understanding, he's a very hardworking person. I don't think Joe single-handedly built it, but I'm saying he definitely helped.
No, I would agree that he helped. He helped get publicity out.
Yeah, mainly by helping him smoke a blunt on his podcast.
Yeah, that one was crazy. He was like, "Is this legal in this state?" All right.
Well, I think he actually admitted this on the Nelk podcast. Elon said they had to take a bunch of drug tests afterwards because he has federal contracts and weed is still federally illegal. So they had to send out random drug tests to make sure that he wasn't smoking it.
For SpaceX, yep. And all of his employees had to get drug tested too. Actually, some employees got fired over that.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but that was his choice. It probably also rose the stock a little bit, because I think it tanked for a little bit, but then he said it went up afterwards.
It ended up being okay. Yeah, it ended up doing him a favor, but it wasn't looking like that the whole time.
Yeah, long term, it did him a favor.
Exactly.
So, which story time is your favorite? That's what I'm going to ask. Which story time of all the videos or story times you made Which story time is your favorite?
I really used to like the one with the tunnels, like the circle things. So there was one like I think it has like 12 million views, and it was like a rainy day out when I filmed it, so like my day was not going good, and then that one did really well, so that was fun. I'd probably say that would go down as my favorite story time, only because like I really didn't know what was living in that thing, and I remember being new to my job and I was scared. I was like, yeah, like I don't want to do this, like I don't want to see what's in there. And then that one where animals were getting like destroyed on the big field. It was like one of the first couple ones like that. That was very real and traumatic. Okay, there were animal guts like on the ground. I didn't want to deal with it, you know. So no, those ones were very memorable. I'd say my favorite though was about the water tunnel.
Well, were you afraid of the tunnel because you were scared of the dark, or
No. It wasn't anything like that. Like there was a noise, like an animal clearly living in there, and like it was a big enough tunnel where like it could have been like a really scary animal. So I was like, I don't want to go in there. Like he was like, oh, just like go peek your head in. I was like, you peek your head in. Like I don't want to peek my head in. Um, yeah,
probably not a good idea
Eh,
when you're dealing with animals in the woods?
no, no, it was not a good idea. And we ended up setting up like hunting cameras and stuff.
What was the animal?
Bobcat, bro.
A bobcat. That's it's not an animal you want to stick your face in front of.
No, I
It,
was right. I shouldn't have stuck my face in front of it.
so let me ask you this: if the tunnel was dark, right? If you were in front of a dark tunnel, right, and you didn't know what was in it, and you would you like if you just didn't know what was in the tunnel, right, and they made you do it, but it was like a super tunnel type thing, right? Would the possibility of aliens cross your mind?
Yeah, I mean, the government said aliens are real, but I wouldn't say suspect them in like a tunnel. But like, nah, Congress did say that there are unidentified flying objects around and they don't know what it is. But now we know that they can like move through like water and stuff like that. So it kind of changes your perspective about it. But no, my first thought would be bear, bobcat, um, rabid raccoon. Like I don't know, like something rabbits coming out. I don't like tunnels, and it's really because I had to clear them out.
So okay, so when you clear out these tunnels, right? Do you how does that work exactly, right? Like,
Most of them are like small little underpassages, like under where the golf carts drive over. So it'd be like you basically like some had turns though, so the turns would be the issue because you couldn't see past them. So you try to go on one side. If you couldn't see it, you go on the other side. Couldn't see it, then you set up a camera. We'd either have to add grates to like just make sure they couldn't get out, or we'd have to send this like machine in that would like push everything through.
so in terms of the bobcat that was living there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you guys finally caught it, was it rabid? Was it healthy? Was it like
We didn't catch it. They had to hire someone to get it out anyways, but they smoked it out and then they put grates there so that it couldn't get back into that thing.
so when you guys had to hire someone, like what like when I like was it like an aggressive animal? Like how did you even find out that it was a bobcat? Like how does that work?
They had to smoke it out. So like they put smoke on one side and then block it so that they have to like run out the other side and then they're able to see it. I don't necessarily know who does that job or how much they get paid, but it should be a considerable amount of money. Um, and then once the Bobcat was out, they added this like grate onto it, which was kind of like just metal bars that covered it, just so that like no animals could get in, but water could get out.
Yeah, I would never be able to do that because I am terrified of rabies. You ever see videos of like coyotes with rabies?
Mm,
Yeah, fun
terrifying.
videos. Yeah, fun videos. Everybody at home should watch them, with their family. Yeah, yeah, with their children around. No, it's a horrible disease. Yeah, and
Terrible.
yeah, no, because not only as a kid, but just like in life, like when I heard about rabies, I wasn't like, oh, rabies, like that's fake. Like I wasn't like that level of easygoing, but it's like you hear about it and you don't think it's a big deal, and then I think I saw a video of just animals that were suffering from rabies, and It is the most horrifying disease, I think. You know that if you get the disease, I think only like 26 people in the history of humanity have survived it. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying that's a very low probability rate. I feel like at that point, you're just done. Like it's over.
No, you are. Yeah, no. So there was, I think, like in the entire history of recorded mankind, only 26 people, like I think, have survived rabies.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
one of them,
That's
yeah,
shockingly low.
that is shockingly low. No, that's exactly why it's problematic. That's why it's a horrible disease. Let me think. There was actually, I think, a college girl. You can look it up, where this girl suffered rabies. Like I don't know her name, but like in order to keep her alive, they had to put her temporarily in a coma and just like
Oh,
hydrate her to like the fullest extent to make sure the disease didn't like they put her into the coma to make sure the disease didn't affect her brain and alter its structure too much, from my understanding.
that's
And
terrible.
like she did end up surviving, but I think she like still lost a bunch of motor functions. Like it's a genuinely terrible disease.
That's awful. Yeah. No, that really sounds. I would not want it.
You know, you were in the right for not wanting to put your face in front of the bobcat.
I didn't know what it was, but even if it was anything, like I don't want a rabid animal coming at me.
Well, now that you know what rabies does, yeah, I think everybody at home should get a rabies shot.
Exactly.
No, that it's a very horrifying disease.
Oh, it's
But
scary. Yeah, because anything like you could have rabies, like a rabies and a wreck, a squirrel come attack
oh
you.
yeah, or a raccoon or anything. And like I said, considering only like 26 people have ever survived the disease, I think that's like, well, I think it's actually the deadliest recorded disease to ever exist. Like, and that's not in terms of people that it's killed, but in terms of the actual ratio, like of surviving, like more than any other disease. Because malaria has killed, I think, 50 billion people in the history of mankind. There's only been 100 people that have ever lived, and like, but rabies has like a higher ratio of killing people.
That's crazy because that means that if you have that, like, God help you because there's nothing you can do.
Well, it's not that there's nothing. It's just like
Oh,
they
okay.
have to
There's
throw.
borderline nothing.
Yeah, they have to they have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you, basically, in the hopes that you might survive.
Yeah. No. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get that disease personally.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
know.
Definitely not. Me neither.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know how anybody else at home feels, but I wouldn't want to. Yeah, if you see the videos of like them just going after like random people or just like contorting, like it's a terrible disease. Yeah, not fun, not fun.
No.
Yeah. So let me ask you, are you an animal person?
For sure. For sure. Yeah. How about you? Cat or dog?
Dog, easily.
For sure. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I love all animals. I don't mind cats. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you're a cat owner. But it's like, I mess with the dogs.
No, 100%. I agree.
Yeah, you can probably hear mine barking right about now. Like, that
No,
means
I can't hear it too bad. No, I got a cat and a dog, but dogs, 100%.
that's fair. All right. I think that this is a good place to end off. Any closing words you want to say to those watching?
Oh man, I mean, we might have a podcast coming. That's about it. Other than that, stay tuned for the content. I'll be posting more.
All right. Sounds good, man. All right. I'll talk to you a little bit after the show, okay?
All right, bye.